Welcome to channel It's Happening Again. Another top U.S. official, this time Donald Trump's Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, is openly warning Canada that America's automobile industry comes first. Speaking bluntly, Lutnick declared, "For the United States, it will always be America's auto industry first, and then any other." He didn't stop there. Lutnick went on to hint that vehicle manufacturing should move south of the border, a statement that threatens to unravel decades of economic integration between Canada and the United States. For more than half a century, the two nations have shared one of the most tightly connected auto supply chains in the world. Parts built in Ontario assembled in Michigan, engines forged in Windsor powering vehicles made in Ohio. That partnership created hundreds of thousands of jobs on both sides of the border and made North America one of the most efficient manufacturing regions on Earth. Now, all of that is at risk. Lutnick's remarks signal a dramatic shift, a return to economic nationalism under Trump, where loyalty to allies takes a backseat to America First protectionism. His words were not a policy slip. They were a warning shot. Washington wants control over trade, over supply chains, and over who gets a profit from the EV and auto revolution of the next decade. Canadian officials are already sounding the alarm. Ontario Premier Doug Ford called the comments a massive threat to Canadian jobs, while auto unions warned that a mass relocation production south could gut entire communities across Ontario and Quebec. Analysts say the move could trigger a new era of trade tension, similar to Trump's earlier tariff wars that disrupted steel, aluminum, and lumber exports. And yet, beneath the rhetoric lies a clear message. The U.S. is no longer treating Canada as an equal partner in the North American Industrial Alliance. Instead, it's drawing the lines of competition and making it clear that when it comes to manufacturing, the United States intends to win at Canada's expense. And yet, right in the middle of this warning shot from Washington, something unexpected happened in Ottawa. China's ambassador to Canada delivered a message of his own, one that could reshape the entire direction of Canada's economy. He announced that China is prepared to lift tariffs on Canadian canola if Canada removes its 100% tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles. Two messages worlds apart, but both aimed squarely at Canada. One threatens, the other tempts. And now, Ottawa stands at crossroads. Follow Washington's orders or finally act in Canada's own interests. Howard Lutnick's remarks weren't off the cuff. They were deliberate. A carefully calibrated signal from Washington that, under Trump's leadership, Canada is no longer seen as a partner, but as a rival. His comments made it unmistakably clear that the U.S. intends to reclaim manufacturing dominance, even if it means dismantling the deeply interconnected North American production network that has fueled prosperity on both sides of the border for decades. Even Ontario Premier Doug Ford called it a massive threat, and he's right. Because when a senior Trump official openly talks about moving auto production south, that's not diplomacy. That's economic warfare. It's Washington telling Ottawa, "We'll take what's ours and what's yours too if we can." So why? In the middle of this, is Canada still enforcing Washington-style tariffs on Chinese EVs? These tariffs aren't protecting Canadian jobs. They're hurting them. They've driven up costs for Canadian consumers, crippled our farmers by provoking Chinese retaliation on canola exports, and scared off investors who once saw Canada as a stable bridge between the U.S. and Asia. As Tom Mulcair put it bluntly, Canada didn't create this problem, we copied it. We mirrored U.S. protectionism out of loyalty, not logic, and now we're paying the price. Canada has become caught in the crossfire of two global powers, one that demands obedience and another that dangles opportunity. Washington uses leverage. Beijing offers incentives. Yet, both are playing the same game. Influence. The question is, does Ottawa have the courage to play its own? If Canada keeps shadowing U.S. economic policy, it risks becoming little more than a branch plant economy, watching investment and innovation drift elsewhere. But if it starts setting its own course, prioritizing Canadian jobs, Canadian industries, and Canadian interests, it could finally emerge as a genuine middle power with real autonomy. This is no longer just about tariffs or trade. It's about independence, economic, political, and strategic. And right now, that independence is being tested like never before. That decision to follow Washington's lead had real consequences. When Trump imposed a 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles, Ottawa quickly matched it, eager to appear strong, loyal, and aligned with its southern neighbor. But Beijing wasn't impressed. It hit back hard, slapping restrictions on Canadian canola, a market worth billions of dollars to prairie farmers. Shipments that once filled Chinese ports were suddenly turned away, and countless Canadian producers found themselves with nowhere to send their crops. What began as a gesture of unity with Washington ended up crippling Canada's own agricultural base. As Tom Mulcair bluntly put it, the United States will always act in its own interest. And every time Canada tries to mirror Washington's strategy, it's Canadian workers, farmers, and consumers who bear the cost, not Americans. We were promised partnership. What we got was dependency, a relationship where Canada follows orders and pays the price for someone else's political theater. And now, as Trump's